Hello, Masters of Measurement. Today I'm going to help you learn how to convert metric units. So the metric measurement system is a really important system to understand because most of the rest of the world is using this system to measure. And in science, it's the system we use to measure so that people can understand what we're talking about all over the world. In the United States, we don't use the metric system usually, but you can see we're kind of in the minority there. So it's important to understand how to use the metric system. We use the metric system to measure all kinds of things. We are going to focus on length, volume, and mass most of the time in our class. Length is like distance. We use units like meter, centimeter, kilometer, a light year. These are all units of length. The main unit for length is the meter, and you can adjust how much of a meter, the fraction or multiplier of a meter that you have, depending on the prefix or the word that you put in front of the word meter. Some tools you would use to measure length would be something like a ruler, a meter stick. Yardsticks, sometimes they have metric measurements on them, but a yard isn't actually in the metric system. Volume is the amount of space something takes up, and we use the main unit liter for volume, and you can change how much of a liter, the fraction or multiplier of a liter, you have by using those metric prefixes. We use a graduated cylinder to measure the volume of liquid, and you can also use math to calculate volume as well, like length times width times height for a cube. Mass is, you can think of mass kind of like a weight, but it's not actually a weight because weight includes gravity, and mass doesn't take into account gravity. So your mass stays the same no matter where in the universe you are. The main unit for mass in the metric system is the gram. We can also create kilograms, milligrams, hectograms, decagrams, all that good stuff. In science, we're normally going to be using balances to calculate mass, like the triple beam balance. So here's the metric conversion chart, which makes it really easy to convert metric units. You can see that these prefixes change the value of the unit. So as you move this direction, each time you take a step up the ladder, you are multiplying by 10. If you take 2 steps, that's 10 times 10, so hecto means you're multiplying by 100. If you go to the right, each step you take to the right is dividing by 10. So if you took 3 steps to the right, that would mean you were dividing by 1,000. Now, what do you mean going left and right? Well, we're talking about the decimal place and the metric prefix, the word in front. So for instance, if you had a meter and you put the word centi in front of it, centi, that means you have a centimeter. That means you actually have 1/100th of a meter. So to remember how this whole metric prefix ladder goes, we have a little poem. A lot of people say King Henry died Monday while drinking chocolate milk, or drinking chocolate milk. I like to say King Henry danced Monday drinking chocolate milk because, first of all, it's not as depressing. And Deci and Deca both start with D, so it's hard to tell the difference. The abbreviation for Deca is DA, and Deci is just D. So danced, if I say danced, to remember Deca, that also starts with a DA, and that reminds me that Deca is the 1, that's times 10, and Deci is divided by 10, 1 to the right. Okay, let's try out a metric conversion problem. Let's say you have 530 millimeters, and you want to figure out how many meters that is. So first you're going to write out your poem or abbreviations for your poem on the top. King Henry danced Monday drinking chocolate milk. Remember that M in the middle is for your main unit, whether it be liters, meters, or grams. That's in the middle. So if I have millimeters, I'm starting with millimeters. Figure out what you're starting with first. That means I am starting way over here. But what I want is meters. Remember, meters is the main unit for measuring length in the metric system. So that would be in the middle here. So how do I get from millimeters to meters? Well, I need to take 1, 2, 3 steps to the left. All right, so if I take 530 millimeters, my decimal, even though it's not written, is right there. If I take this decimal right here and do the same thing and move it 1, 2, 3 steps to the left, 1, 2, 3, that tells me how many meters I have. I have 0.53 meters. Now you might notice that I didn't write the 0. This answer is the same as this answer, 0.53 meters. That's how many meters is equal to 530 millimeters. So if you counted out 530 millimeters on a meter stick, it would be about 0.53 meters, but about halfway. Let's try another one. I have 2 liters, like a 2-liter soda bottle, let's say. And I want to know how many deciliters are in a 2-liter soda bottle. All right, let's write the poem out. King Henry France Monday drinking chocolate milk. I'm starting with liters. There's no prefix in front of it. It's just liters. That means we have a main unit. It's our main unit for volume. So I'm starting with my main unit in the middle. I want to get to deciliters. Remember, deciliters is D, just a little d. Deciliters are, they kind of sound tiny. When you say the word deci, it kind of sounds tiny. And when you say deca, it kind of sounds huge. So that's another way you could remember it. But what I want is deciliters. And that's 1 step to the right of my main unit. So 2 liters, that's where my decimal place would be. If I take that decimal place and move it, I'm going to move my liters. If I move that decimal place 1 step to the right, I have an empty space. If you are moving to the right and you have empty spaces, that means you fill them with a 0. So for every empty space, you have a 0. So that tells me that 2 liters is equal to 20 deciliters. I have 20 deciliters in every 2 liters. Please let me know if you need any more help on this. You may want to watch the video a couple times. If you have a different poem to help you remember the metric conversion ladder, that's totally fine. But either way, good luck measuring. And remember the metric system rules.